So, before I can get to what I normally do these days, which is working on the new Lexer stuff, before I can get to that, I need to finish a bug fix that I'm working on. I've got a new version of 4coder almost ready to go, but it's got a nasty little bug right now. Let me see if it still has it. It should. I made a few changes to make it easier to fix this bug, but first of all, this should not be blank. The messages buffer should fill up with info right away, but it's blank, which is wrong. I don't know why it's blank. So I want to figure out why it's blank. When I force it to re-render, it seems to have just fixed just now. So let me see that again. I haven't. So now it's still blank, which is really weird. But if I resize it all, it then fills everything up. So I need to figure out why that's happening, because that's just wrong. But then also, if I try to open a file, it crashes. So, what I've been working on is reorganizing lots of things in the view struct so that I can avoid this crash that's happening. And I believe actually what I need to do now to make it stop is I finished reorganizing the view variables so that all of the files stuff, anything that has to do with viewing a file is in here, so we know which file we're pointing to, everything about the cursor and stuff like that, the scrolling information, highlights, I wonder, is paste effect? Maybe paste effect's in the file level, which is fine. But then all the stuff that doesn't directly tie 100% to the file level is free to just hang out here. And probably over time I'll find more stuff that I want to sort of group together. Like, I already know that's all got to do with theme editing. This is all got to do with the interactive view, and that stuff's still sort of being rethought and reconfigured. So it hasn't totally boiled out yet, but it will do soon. But all the file data stuff is right here now, which should allow me to fix this problem that I have, where I'm setting the file to 0 here, but leaving all of the other metadata intact, so that when it goes to handle this view later, it doesn't have the right behavior exactly. So what I really want to do is right there, well, somewhere in here I have a file view free buffers. There it is. And what I wanted to do was add a new one that's like nullify or something, right? So that I can take a view and just nullify the file portion of the view. So it's like the file data wants to get set to null. The now that I have it all organized, what I can do, the whole point of organizing it is I can go to file viewing data right here. And so I want to set the file to null. I want to set well, file locked. Really what I want to do is, if I'm going to nullify this, I just want to free this if it's been allocated, right? So if my view has line wrap information, I want to free it, and then I want to set the whole thing to 0, which is actually the reason I organized that into a struct, so that I have an easy way to just clear to 0 anytime I want to nullify a file. Okay, so hopefully now it doesn't have any weird lingering metadata when I try to open a file. There we go. Okay, so that is fixed, which is good news. Let me just do one other thing. I still want to figure out why messages isn't showing up, but I want to make sure that that has text in it first. Yeah, okay. So that is fixed. Now, why is messages starting out blank? Well, let's take a look at that. I guess the easiest way to do that would be to just say we're going to go look at the step function. There it is. Alright, so dt is greater than 0, so we update 0 child processes. Speaking of updating child processes, I guess we have to have a thing that, yeah, so for the event driven to work, insofar as mentioned this, so that's a bug I should fix while I'm here too, is now that it's event driven, I want to make sure that if output comes out of a process that I get that as an event. Otherwise, I'll never actually read out of those things unless other events happen. It's kind of, I've ended up writing all of the code as like loops over things, and it's interesting how it's like when you go event driven, you start like to be perfectly optimal. What you wish you could do is get perfect event ordering of every single event that happens, and then you can just use the events to tell you exactly what to do, and you don't have to loop over all of the child processes, for instance, or loop over all of your files to figure out what actually happened. But I don't know, having the loop there is sort of like a way of saying like we guarantee even if we miss an event that this will be correct. So for now I just gotta make sure all the events are there that need to be there, and then I'll optimize out like doing less of a loop if possible. But just having it go to sleep when nothing is happening will be a huge help. So here we go. It's going to first step, creates a read-only file called messages, adds that to the working set. And we go ahead and, okay, so we have our pointer to the message buffer. Okay, so here, if there was a start hook, it calls the start hook. And that's where we caused a split, and I guess that panel split was somehow affecting, because I turned the panel split off, because insofar as found that if you turn the panel split off, you can you can get these bugs that I wasn't getting. So without the panel split happening there, what's different? I don't really understand why that would be different. Anyway, let's keep going. So we come through here. No init file count, okay. Alright, so if any of the panels were left open, then we put the message buffer in there. Then we write that stuff into the message buffer, right? Yeah. Okay, so That's fine, so why don't we end up rendering the text? Oh, cool. So insofar as already has child processes working, um, that's good to know. So I want to see what happens when we render file view. Eventually, I should get one that leads me to yes, I do the top bar. Let's look at this first. When I do the top bar, let me draw the rectangle. We don't put the null down because we actually have a file. The name of that file is messages, right? So it's going to put that name down. That all looks good. So let's look at the second step through here. What happens? Nothing, 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 nothing. Okay. We change the clip rectangle. That's fine. Okay, so we're beginning a scrollable section. And so that means we're putting down the scroll bar, basically. Then we're putting down the top, middle, and bottom boxes of the scroll bar. Then what happens? We begin the actual scrollable section. Okay, here we go. We're going to draw a file. Let me put down a break there. That's been loaded already. So we have a file, yeah, it's the messages file. And just to double check, the name is messages. If I go to the state, we have a buffer, and that buffer contains all the text that's supposed to show up. Tokens used, token stack, blah blah blah. Okay, there are no tokens. Get all the render data. Looks good. Count. What? Count can't be 1? That doesn't make any sense. Hold on. So the buffer, the size is non-zero. What did we tell it? The x max x 778 max. That's all fine. Unwrapped lines, advanced data is good. Line height options. What? Scroll eye. Render cursor position. Why is my render cursor not at 0? Whoa. That's not good. Yeah, so when did that become so impossibly large? I wonder. So is this a matter of the scrolling being messed up right now? That would explain why resizing has something to do with it. Yeah, this looks totally messed up. That shouldn't be true. Okay, so there's definitely something wrong with the scrolling, so let's take a look into that. Okay, so there's only one view right now, so let me get a look at that view. Alright, Crazy Town. Let me get a copy of that and switch this over to that. Okay. Now, we're in use, yes, IV15 makes sense. Yeah, I guess my allocation scheme is almost always allocate from high to low. Anyway, so let's see a few things. File data, state, buffer. Looks like we've got the data in there. Alright, what about the scrolling information? File scroll. File scroll is all zeros. So what I want to know is why this ends up being non-zero later. And now I get to wrestle with the really dumb data breakpoint stuff that doesn't quite work the way I want it to. Alright. Boom. Interesting. Okay. Okay. So what happened here? Why did target Y become crazy? Target Y was initially 0. The file existed and it was ready, I'm sure. Okay. If target Y equals... So are we telling me that the cursor Y was nonsense? Or what? Well, now that I know that it's happening here, what I can do is we'll put a breakpoint there and then we'll try again. Okay. So as of right now, the view should have a good looking file scroll still. Yes, it does. Okay. So that's bogus. What happened there? Are we showing the temp highlight? No, so we take this. Position, line 1. Okay, why is wrapped Y this crazy value? It's a bit weird. I bet I know what happened actually. Okay, so when I call do feedback message right here, I suspect I know that what's happening. It doesn't have the width yet. And Yeah. Yeah, if it doesn't have the width yet, then that would explain why it doesn't have a sensible wrapped width, but an unwrapped width would work. Well, let's see, so that does the file edit. Now looking at the view, yes. Okay, so we come in here to the view, and if we look at the view, the problem should be that, what about the panel? It should have a good idea of what its width will be. Its previous inner isn't set yet, which is a bit weird. Okay, what about compute cursor from position? What happens in there? It's got its advanced data filled out already, so that's not the problem. File scroll. So it's looking at the file scroll for its information. That's where it comes back with a 0, right? Yeah, so you can't do any edits to a file while the view hasn't actually done a frame yet because of the lag in finding out the exact layout of the GUI, right? Until the GUI layout is done, we don't know the width of the area the text will be rendered in, and so you have to hold off during a frame. You can't do any editing in a text until after that has happened. Okay. For the most part, that shouldn't be a problem because commands that edit the text usually come afterwards, but there are a few other things that do need to be repositioned. And one of those includes this logic here. Pass input in. Command panel resizing. So panel resizing is happening later too, which isn't necessarily a good thing, but I think right here, initialize message should be fine. I think. Still no good. Okay. I like that comment. Okay. So it comes in here. So append onto the output file, and then find our view, move the cursor. We come through here, we're going to get the max width, and I bet the region is still all zeros, right? Yeah. So actually, it's not until the second frame that the lag is going to be totally handled. So in general, wouldn't this be an issue just all the time? I mean, you do an edit, you update based on what last frame's width was, and then next frame you get the correct width. Yeah, I don't think that that is a good enough system. We need to at least be able to make this region information, maybe the scrolling information and the region information can be separated, perhaps. Okay, so let's take a look at that. That's in here. Get scroll vars around here somewhere. Yeah, so when I do get scroll vars, that's when the region information finally gets updated. So the GUI layout's happening, but it's not until the next frame that I get the region, the scrollable region. And that's not totally awesome. What I could do is just say, no matter what, at the end of GUI get scroll vars. Okay, so we see if the scroll ID is equal to that ID, then vars out, scroll updated. We apply the mins and maxes to the target and to the scroll variables, then we see if the scroll bar has been activated, and if so we return 1. Yeah, I think we can do that at the end without affecting the next play round, right? So yeah, so I want to rethink this a little. Seems like there are two separate things we want to do here. Getting the updated scroll vars and responding to and telling the user when scrolling actions occur. Okay. So in the meantime, I'm going to leave it the way it is and add yeah, and I'm going to add in some way of saying, well, we don't until after, yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to take all of that, and we're going to say, after we do input on the file view, once we've done all of those, finally I'll do another loop over them and say, look, if yeah, this is where it's a little bit of a hack. I have to think about how to actually make that work. Because I don't want to have to hard code in the logic about when you update a particular set of scroll bars. So if the view showing UI equals VUI none, else, okay. And what I can do is I'll call this function here, and on this one I do the GUI scroll, and yeah, so that will just return the thing to me without affecting any internal state, so that the next step through will still look the same. Scroll vars. Cannot convert argument 1 from render target to GUI target. Right. I'm talking about the view's GUI target. There we go. So now what should happen is we actually process the GUI, and then we at the end say, hey, let's not wait till next frame to update our file scrolls. So now, yeah, now I have a good region there. So maybe what I want to do is, instead of trying to put that back into the actual scroll vars, I'll have another local temp scroll vars available here, just so I can get the region out, and I'll have a thing where I store the region back and not everything else right away. But then that means, really what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to query get the scroll vars and get the scroll region separately. That's where I need to make a split in what's happening now. I'm going to leave it the way it is now because that's too boring for stream. I'll just make sure to do that later tonight. Okay, so now when we come through to here and we go to post this, we should get a max width that's reasonable, so we get a result that has a reasonable wrapped Y, and now when we move the cursor everything should be good. So if I undo all those breakpoints and go, awesome. Yeah, okay, so that fixed the problem where the messages weren't showing up right away. Okay. Okay, so we got 4coder bugs fixed. Now I can switch my custom um, to having this automatic split again. And now we can get to work on the real deal. So we're running 4coder 403 now. I can shut down the old one, hopefully. Actually, I'm going to run it through the debugger, so if I have any bugs, I can track them down. So we're going to shut down the old version of 4coder. There we go. I gotta see if that bug is something I can fix before the next version too. Okay. So boom. So here's the new theme selection system. It's all pretty similar. You've got themes here to select from. This theme looks somehow different to me. I'm not sure why. It's feeling to me like that blue is not the right color that it was in the old version. I'll look into it. And then we've got a much simpler color editor right now that just lets you type in numbers. I'll get a little bit more in there, but I don't want to support as much nonsense as I was supporting before. But you can click on these to switch them, and then there's also a set font option that lets you pick which font you want to use. I'm not sure if it's actually lagging or if it's like an event, if it's waiting for an event. I'm also not sure if I'm getting like periodic events. It seems like I must be getting periodic events for some reason, because I'm getting, if that's it seems very much like that's an event situation. It's causing that to wait for so long. But what event would even be triggering? It's not like there's a file exchange finishing or a job finishing. It's not returning that it wants to animate. I should be getting 0 CPU usage here. One minute. What is this? There's a Chrome process taking 25% CPU, and I don't even have Chrome open. I wonder if I have like a plugin turned on or something. I don't like that at all. That's crazy. Nope. No Chrome in the status bar. I'm trying to kill it. I'll show you what I'm doing. I'll close. I just opened another window to see, but now this is the only one, and it's not going. It's not going away. Seriously? Okay, so now Task Manager is shitting the bed. So let's try this. Um, this is like the worst day on Windows ever. I mean, this is not my usual experience with this computer. I'm not sure why it's so fucked up today. But anyways, task kill question mark. Capital F Chrome exe. Alright. Come on now. Oh my goodness. Like how OBS and like the stream are just continuously working. But like Task Manager can't manage to handle the situation now. Oh, for fuck's sake. Now there's two of them. God damn it. Is there anything else you can do from this menu? This is crazy town. I don't know what's going on with that process on Chrome, but it's like screwing everything up. Alright, let's try this one more time. Kill this. There's no hope. I'll just close the processes that still know how to close, and we'll resume the stream after I restart. Well, that sort of soured my mood quite a bit. Trying to decide if it's worth my time to finish debugging this or if I should switch over to the Lexer now. Jim00, yeah, I'm guessing that there's some kind of malware and some sort of Chrome something or other. Might uninstall that and purge everything out and reinstall it again. Yeah. Yeah, it's not a terrible guess. It's not up now. As long as I don't turn Chrome on again, I don't think there's any way it should come back again. I've yeah, I'll see it if it comes back. But anyway, let's try and debug this now. So what I was noticing before I noticed the crazy CPU usage of a Chrome process, see, that was weird looking. Is it like... Oh, that's totally... Yeah, that's just like random events happening causing those to go. So, two things. First of all, this should return that it's animating whenever the state changes in a way that's going to change the appearance. But, why am I getting events anyway? What event am I getting all the time? So what I want to know is if I'm looking over here at Win32 Fluoride CVP, what event am I getting once every couple times a second in the first place? Right? Like, what am I getting? So there I should have gotten a paint message. Now it's never gonna... Okay, let me take this and just pop it over here for now so that it doesn't keep being an issue. Yeah, I'm just periodically getting messages. What am I getting here? What is this message? I don't know what that message is. Okay, boom. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of messages that I don't think I care anything about. Let me just double check. Win32 proc. What is it? Win proc. I can't remember what it's called. Here we go. Win32 callback. So I'm getting a set cursor. I'm getting a paint. And then a set cursor. Is that just that I'm getting these guys? Where are they coming from? Okay, so I do update step, redraw from update, and that sends a message that asks the system to paint the screen. Okay. Where am I getting this one from? Update step. Set cursor from update. So are you telling me every single frame it's getting? Cursor from update. Right, so that is getting called every frame, isn't it? Okay. So we send that message. If we're doing a send message, how is it even... It's calling the callback. Okay, so that's calling the callback, which is fine. But that doesn't mean that... Yeah, shoot, I don't want to go through all this. Windows echo stuff. So that calls the callback, goes through here, that calls the callback too. Now what? Okay, so that also is calling the callback. Don't really care. Okay, so then we don't do anything there. We don't do anything there. We're not animating. Whoa. It's really weird. Okay, where did that come from? Result. Okay. So I ask for an I post an animation message. And when I come through here, there's going to be another get message. Are you telling me? Post message. Animate. Animating this gigantic number. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. So it's literally updating every single frame. So I would expect there not to be any lag when I do that. That's wild. Also, why am I guess that's fine. Okay. Okay, so first of all, why is that returning like a crazy number? Don't get it. So okay. Thought those were defaulted to 0. That's weird. So maybe I actually have a bunch of event-driven bugs that I haven't even detected yet. We'll find out now. Okay. So that's like the same thing as it was before, basically. If I move the mouse, it fixes right away. If I don't move the mouse, it doesn't send events and then it's slower. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely an issue of events right there. It needs like 2 events to show the right thing. So, why does this work though? I still don't understand. I'm still getting messages sometimes that I don't expect to see and that I probably shouldn't treat as messages. So key presses. What is this? Is that like just partially written code? What does WM input even do? I don't want to open Chrome and find out, so I'll just leave it there. But that seems like that's just, I don't know what it is. Buttons, size, blah 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 blah. Okay. So what I could do is say anytime any of these events happens, tell me about it, so that I can see it right away. So I got a paint message. Alright, now what I want to do is make sure I got a kill focus message or a set focus message, not sure which. Alright, now I've got another message. It's a set cursor message. Hasn't. Oh, it's not. Okay. I see, I see. So if I don't pay attention to the ones I post to myself, which I want to stop doing anyway, set cursor and paint are both going to happen now. Kill focus. Insofar as suggesting I try Spy++, I don't seem to have that. Anytime I've looked for it on here. Yeah, it's like not on here. I don't know how I'm supposed to get to that. Ah, here it is, tools. Okay. There's my debug window, right? Here's the window. Okay. Okay, so breakpoints. Let me just turn these all off for a moment and try and keep going. Get icon. So I'm periodically getting a get icon a get icon message. I don't even know what that means. Probably trying to keep the icon on the window up to date or something. Well, anyway, the lesson is that I shouldn't process an event just because I got a Windows message. I should check to see I got something I care about first. Yeah, let's just do that. Alright, so what that would look like is in here, first of all, WM input. I don't think that you are supposed to be there. I'm not sure. But what I do want to do is say, look, we're going to have Win32 vars. You're going to say something like you're going to say got useful event, and then when we do get message, we'll set that to false. And we'll say, while we still haven't gotten a useful message, get a new message, right? And then eventually we will get a useful message, and so what we want to do is say, well, yes, then as soon as we've gotten one useful message, we'll take all the rest of the messages that are sitting there. So we're going to sleep there, and the point is we'll just go back to sleep right away if the message we got was not useful. And Ginger Bell, right now I'm fixing some bugs. I was going to do the lecture stuff, but I'm like right in the middle of bug fixes still, so I decided to go with that. And if we get done, I'll switch to the lecture, but it's starting to look like it's going to be all day. Probably going to eliminate this anyway, so I'm done with those. And then the point is, we get a message, and once we're out of that loop, it means we got a useful event, and then we're going to just peek at all the other ones so we can build everything up and then run a step. Right? Okay. So then the only other thing we have to do is we have to set this to true whenever we get a useful event. So if I go up here to the callback, those are not useful. We'll treat all of those as useful events. Mouse move is a useful event. Mouse wheel is a useful event. L button, R button, L button, R button. Kill focus, set focus are useful. Resize is useful. Paint is useful. My own paint messages, my own set cursor messages are not useful. Yes, useful event. Also, I'm going to eliminate all of these input locks. Where are those input locks? I don't need all of them sitting around anymore since I'm not doing this multi-threaded for a little while here. I want to try to come up with a different system for that anyway. Okay, so those are all fixed. And now, no, not a useful event, so good. What I do want to do is I want to say, if I get a 4coder animate, or a 4coder event complete, then those are useful events. Okay. Now what should happen is that, oh my goodness, it's still doing that. Okay, well, insofar as it does what for you twice on Linux? How is it that I've already got a useful event? That's what I don't understand. Because I haven't passed it to the callback yet, have I? Okay, I want, what is this one? Not you, but I want all of you back on. Okay, so now I've got a useful event. Boom. Useful event is 0. Still 0, still 0. Aha. Alright, so yeah, insofar as that's what I understand as the bigger bug, which is just that I need to get that all to update in one frame and then tell it to animate to tell it to animate for a frame. But what I'm trying to deal with is that I'm getting like, I'm getting messages that that are like, things other than moving the mouse are causing it to do this. Like, even if I do nothing at all, it still gets woken up a couple times a second. I'm trying to fix that first. So it looks like, I'm not sure if we're setting the focus or killing the focus, but something happened. What happened here? Some default stuff. So it's calling the callback without me dispatching the message, which is fine, I guess. But then, yes, we get that twice, and now it's going to go ahead and, oh, I see. So it's because of the fact that whenever, okay. So the reason I keep getting set focus and kill focus is because of the damn debugger. It'll set the focus as soon as I want to keep the focus on here, but now it's doing it again. There's no way to keep it from changing the focus back to the original window while I'm in debug mode, if I'm using breakpoints, so that's no good. Let me just try and not break on set focus, kill focus then. Okay. So yeah, all these things are going to trigger all kinds of stuff now. Now it's going to trigger WM Paint over and over again. Oh, damn. Okay. So I'm not sure how to go about debugging this, but clearly having all these breakpoints isn't going to do it. Let's pull up Spy++ again. Okay. And now let's run that. Okay. Finally, let's track down this. There's so many damn windows. Why are there so many windows? 402. It's not the one I want. Where's 403? It's like a way to find a window. Okay, but I want to see it on the list. How do I get the messages? Yeah, there's the handle. I understand that. Okay, but like, how do I... I totally don't understand. How do I get the messages if I'm doing it this way? That's like not even helpful. Okay, whatever. There we go. Okay. So I'm still getting get icon messages periodically. And now I get a lot more every few frames. I get like, what was I getting there? Like, oh, will you chill? Can you like freeze this for a moment? All kinds of stuff is coming through there. But all of that should get ignored. Okay, why am I getting... What message am I getting that is... Set cursor... mouse move. Am I really getting a mouse move each time? What? God damn it, freeze the thing. If I close this window here, I bet the whole messages just go away, right? No, okay, here they are. Okay. Finally, something that makes sense. So, in here, where it's just like going crazy, it does a mouse move every few... Is that really me moving the mouse, though, is what I don't know. Is there a section where it doesn't do the mouse move? I don't know. I turned the brakes off, popcorn. So those set cursors are me. I'm telling it to set a cursor each time. And I don't know what the NC hit test is. But that's two messages right there, and then there's a mouse move. I feel like that mouse move is like extraneous. So yeah, those are getting ignored. So, alright, let's try this again. Okay, so when nothing's happening, it just gets a get icon each time. If I put my mouse on there, suddenly it starts getting all this nonsense. I'm not touching my mouse, so it does get icon, NC hit test, mouse move, and then all of the or the two user ones that it's doing, which are for painting and for doing the cursor. But the question is, why would it do those? It shouldn't do those at all unless it's actually calling the user function, and it shouldn't. Why is it doing mouse move? Okay. So, mouse move 11, Y position. Why is it changing the Y position each time? That doesn't even make sense. 178, oh wait, those are actually me moving. Okay, so it sends you a mouse move even if the mouse doesn't actually move, is the lesson there. Okay. Alright, so they just periodically post a mouse move to tell you where the mouse is even if the mouse hasn't changed or done anything. Awesome. Okay. Okay. So that's okay. We can handle that situation, because that means all I have to do now is look in here in the mouse move, WM mouse move. Alright, so we don't want to say that we got a useful event unless we know that we did. So what we're going to do is say new x equals this, new y equals this. If the new x does not equal the old x, or if the new y does not equal the old y, new x, new y, And now we know we have a useful event. I found a little trick to make the 4coder Lexer or auto indent not quite as terrible all the time. I guess it doesn't work there. Oh well. So boop. Doo-doop. Doo-doop. Awesome. Now I have to trigger my event myself. Doop. 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 Doo-doop. Yep, okay. So now the only trick is that that should happen right away. Now, why the frame of lag? Why the extra frame of lag is what I'd like to know. We set the main theme. Oh, we said preview this one, then we said update this one, then it said update the theme. So the next theme frame around, it should have. The first frame of lag doesn't make any sense to me. We send a click through. The theme should be updated before anything even gets rendered. So let me think. Yeah, this first frame, I understand why there's two, I understand why there's a frame of lag between the background changing and the top thing changes, but I don't understand why the background doesn't change right away. That shouldn't be the case. When I click, the item becomes, when I click down, the item becomes hot, and then when it gets released on, that becomes active for one frame. That active for one frame should then cause the style to be updated, and then the rendering should happen. So the frame that I sent the release should have immediately seen the background style change. But instead I have to send another event to get that effect, and then I have to send another event to get the top thing to change. That also doesn't actually make any sense. It seems like that's all off by one frame. Okay, so I'm gonna look at that. I'm gonna just say screw it, we're not doing the Lexer today. Might as well make 4coder better since that's what I'm working on right now. Step the file view. Very weird. Okay. We'll get to the bottom of this soon enough. Wow, that didn't trigger that. Wild. Okay. And then if I move the mouse, I bet it does trigger that. Okay. Oh, that's because the mouse handling is also one frame of lag. So there's a frame of lag. We figure out that this thing needs to be activated, but it's not until the next frame that we know to update the image. So I feel like it's safe to say that in general, first of all, I should return that I'm animating whenever the state needs to change on the next frame in a way that, I can predict now. But if I'm going to be event-driven, I want to avoid this kind of lag sometimes. And there's some difficulty involved in handling mouse input without a frame of lag. I have to decide which one is more valuable. If I keep the frame of lag in the mouse input handling, then I have to post that I need animation frame every time every time that I detect that the next frame there would be some behavior. I have to post to the system layer to give another step. On the other hand, if I go that way route, it could get a mess where it's like, oh, make sure you're posting in all the right spots, which was something I was hoping to eliminate. But if I try to handle mouse input without the frame of lag, on the upside it would eliminate the frame of lag and the extra posting for future events, but it would mean I'd still have to post once in a while. Like the second frame of lag would still be a problem. It's just the first one would be eliminated. But even so, I've also got to think about the fact that there'd be more complexity in computing which thing I clicked on, given like the overlapping stuff and stuff like that. And later there'd be sections. I feel like in the long run I want to move towards handling the mouse inline. Okay, so for now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the cheaper method, which is whenever a mouse event occurs, I'm going to just post to that another frame needs to happen. And in the future, I'm going to, on my own time, once I figure out more about how to do it, I'm going to try to eliminate the frame of lag on mouse input entirely. But there There could also be an issue there with the scroll bar. I'm not sure. Because the scrolling has to be a frame of lag even if you do try to do the input. Yeah, I don't know. So, in the meantime, let me find that. So whenever we say that the target's active should get set to something, that's where we want to put a result of. Now, what is so that is animating is already available. I'm assuming that is what we're returning, right? Awesome. Okay, so active equals yeah, okay. Active equals boom, and then I want to do is animating is true. So whenever we set the active, to something, we should animate the next step. And really, we probably want to do that whenever we set the hot as well. Okay. So all of that will help to eliminate the first, well, not the first frame of lag, but will help to eliminate the first sort of wait after using a GUI button, I think. Nope, didn't work. So, which things did I miss? Active equals. Yeah, so when I do the color button, the mouse release L, we say that we're animating, is animating equals do input file view. Right, so if I say it's animating, okay, so why is it not coming through? Let's try something real quick. Is animating Yes, where's the color button? Okay. Boom. Nope. Boom. Okay. Okay, so we're going to tell that thing to animate. It was already planning to animate, which is a little bit weird. Result.animating was 0 there. There's already 1 there. It doesn't actually have the chance to get set to 1 anywhere else in the entire world. Must have... Are there 2 panels open right now? Yes, there are. Okay, so maybe it was animating because of the other panel? What would have happened? I don't know. I do not totally understand that. But I'm going to look at that second. First I want to look at some other stuff. Okay. So anyway, that should mean that when I get down to here, I'm not trying to perform a kill. So one thing I need to do is I need to start doing less of these, because that was a bunch of annoying messages I don't need to have all the time. Update that. Performs a redraw. Yes. Now, by the way, the result is animating, right? Yes. So we come through here. Blah, blah, blah. Stuff happens. We're way over time because I've been going through the debugger. And I say we're animating. So I post a new message. And WM 4coder animate up here should get triggered. Whoa. Whoa. That was a weird one. So it's not triggering that event? Are you telling me it's getting to the post but not triggering the event? Okay, so there it posted it. It's posting it. Still posting it. But it's never triggering. It's weird. So I'm curious which useful event it even is triggering. Kill focus, set focus. Right, because we're on the debugger. So that will trigger that. That really never happens. Okay. Well, I've got a problem if those aren't coming through. So I'd like to take a moment and see every time something comes through. Better idea. Oh, I wonder if... Okay, here's an idea. Maybe I have to provide the window handle here. For send message I don't, but that's because I think that might be because of the fact that it's on the same thread. Maybe the post message doesn't default to that, but the send message does. I know send message will default the null. Maybe post message won't default the null to the current window of the thread. Okay. Yep. So that's doing that now. I'd really like to fix the extra frame of lag there, which I think I can do in a not so crazy way with a plan that I've got. Yeah, when I simplify the style system, that'll be fixed. Okay. Right now what I do is, to make each of these, I copy the style in, and that means that the style gets changed, but it doesn't see this change because it's looking at the copy, not the original. But I'm going to switch to just having styles be like an array of styles, and you just provide an index, and it uses that index to look up the style, so that even if the style changed since the thing was posted, it'll show the changed version of that style. I think that's actually the way that wants to work, because then that extra frame of lag will be gone up there, and it'll be good. What about here? Yeah, that looks fixed now too. Awesome. Cool. So, it's almost time for Handmade Hero. I can probably wrap the stream down in the next few minutes. While I'm here, I'm going to just see if 4coder works and take a little time to try and see if we can revisit something, maybe look at the Lexer for a few minutes. Make one change, just to make sure that this new version of 4coder is actually working. By the way, there's a couple other things I want to do. So that's using a light gray, that's using a dark gray. So that is the wrong color. Somebody's using the wrong color there. I think that light gray is the... what is that? I don't know. That's the wrong gray. That's why it looks wrong to me. So that makes sense. The other thing I'd like to do is take a quick look and see now I want to see, it looks like we're still spending a lot of CPU time, even though it should be sleeping. So is it animating every frame now or something? Okay. Never mind, we can't do this. Not until that gets fixed. So why are we still having this? Well, first of all, let me run it without the debugger attached. Yeah, that doesn't look like it's sleeping to me. Let me switch to this, and then let me pull up tools by ++. Yes. Doop. 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 Boop. Alright, so we're getting a lot of messages there. Those are definitely user 2s and 3s going through there. Potentially 1s. If it would slow down, I could tell what they are. Guess I'll just stop it. Come up here. Yeah, so it looks like it's posting an animation every single frame. That's no good. Let's walk through one full frame of this real quick, just to see if I can figure out why that's happening. So that should be in here, app, step. Boop. Boop. Okay. You go away for now. You get big. I want to see app result dot animating is what I want to see. Some bogus number. Now it's 0. Now what I want to do is just sort of step through, I guess, and see if it ever changes to 1. And actually, I'm expecting that it'll change to 1. So first of all, every single frame it's a 1, which is what I was expecting. Let me get rid of these that I'm not using anymore. And then switch over here. I want to get this out from under there so that I don't get a bunch of messages posted to it. Okay. Okay, so are we animating? The answer is no. It comes through here. Okay. And it should all come down to right here, right? This is the only spot in the whole thing where we possibly set that to 1. So my guess is that like a file view just always sets that to 1 or something. So there's that. There's that. So this view is inactive. It contains a file whose name is messages. Okay. So we're looking at the messages view right now. And I want to see exactly when we end up setting the is animating to true. By the way, is animating. Okay. Didn't happen there. Didn't happen there. Didn't happen there. Alright, so we come in here to do a file. Now, what does he think about is animating? He comes through here, does all this, potentially updating positions of those things. If tick down is greater than 0, it's not. So we return an is animating of 0. Is animating is still 0 in this frame. We end the scrollable section. Okay, now we do a scroll rule here. We pop into the scroll rule. Target Y, scroll Y. Nope. Nope. So result is 0. So his animating is did it happen here? Ah. Okay. So it's because of that line there where when I don't have L down, I want to set the hot item to be nothing, but if I always assume that that's going to be different than the last frame, then that's always going to cause an animation. So what I actually want to do is say that I only do that when I know that it wasn't hot before, that this was not empty before. So if this does not equal this beforehand, then go ahead and set that ID and set the animation. Okay. Alright, so let's try that. Boop. Now it's still coming back with a 0, 1 there, but no. 0. I'm still getting 1s each time, which I'm not thrilled about. Or that's just nonsense. Why am I getting nonsense? Maybe that, I don't know. I don't know what that means. That right there suggests to me that it's still animating each frame. So let me walk through this again. So here we go. This is probably the one with messages. Don't know why it would be any different, but just to double check. Yep, messages. Alright, and then we come in here. We're not animating yet, but if we pop down to the bottom, so none of those should trigger it if I am understanding correctly. Alright, now mouse L, that's true. Now if we come in here, so that should not happen. Is animating is still false. Okay. Scroll rule is animating is still false. So we return is animating as false, and boom. Okay. What about the next time through? That also doesn't happen. Okay. So let's jump down to here. And the result has animating is false. And so, yeah, okay. So all that makes sense. All that appears to be doing what it should be doing. So let's assume that that works and take a look. Ah, that could be working. Let's close the old one. And there we go. A totally idle 4coder. Let me, just to push it a little bit, open all code. Alright, it now has something like 20 or 30 files open, but it's just sitting there idling at a 0 CPU. Let's see. Doesn't look like there's any questions or anything in here that I would missed. So yeah, the CPU usage is pretty high when I actually do stuff, because then it has to check all the files times, which is not ideal. So when I'm sending messages to it like this, it still spikes up, and I don't want that to be true. But if I just leave it sitting there all day like that, it appears to be 0. Dude in basement, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Apple-style buttons that I can't tell are buttons. Are you bashing Apple? Is that the point? I'm not sure. I'm not sure which Apple buttons are an issue, although I'm sure that they exist. I see. I see. I mean, this is kind of how the UI is going to look, right? Buttons have an outline, and when you hover over things, they do stuff. Ooh. So the button has a bit of lag still. Let me take a look at that. Wait, I wonder if everything has lag again. Maybe I didn't get it working after all. Boop. Boop. Okay. So there's still one, I'm still missing one step of animation, but not two. Is that what's happening there? And yeah, so that's missing a step of animation. Okay. And I think I know what those are. So if I'm doing this again, file view CPP and forward CPP both are going to change. So step file view, I'm going to say, look, if this one returns true, I need to set result dot or app result dot animating to true there as well. Step file view, what is the I32I that it's returning right now? Does that mean anything? Just returning a 1, huh? We're going to say that's an is animating. Okay. And now I need to go to a few spots where I do something that changes the state, and I need to render another frame in order to show that change in the state. Color mode equals. Shit, that didn't have a semicolon on it. Okay. When I push the left or right keys, need to set is animating there too. Huh. This is going to become annoying. I need a better plan than this. Setting is animating everywhere. Okay. I can make this work for now, but I feel like I need a better plan than this. Something about like if you know, if anything happens that, you know, as you're running through, if you do something like if you query the state of a GUI item in such a way that it returns active, then you need to be animating for that frame or something like that. Seems like a good plan. Oh, are all of these settings is animating to 0 too? Jeez, okay. Is animating equals 0 is into is animating equals 1. Alright, let's try that. Still not getting that one. Or that one. Okay, so we're setting is animating to 1 in these cases. So why would that not have changed the behavior at all? There we go, there's the new one. So when I do something like that, it says animating equals 0 still. That would explain it. Cool. So that all appears to work. Doop, 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 doop. It's not changing the font right away, but not re-rendering that right away. So that's again one of these things that I need a better plan for. Font. Where's the font stuff? Boop, boop. Okay. And if I do that, it works. Yes. If I do this. That appears to work. Okay, cool. Yeah, that seems like a good stopping point for today. It looks like the event-driven stuff is getting pretty close to working. I'm also going to add arrow navigation to the UI so that you can arrow navigate the file lists and stuff like that, which has been a highly requested feature for a while. And with that, I think we'll be pretty close to a new 4coder version. Might take another couple of days of bug squashing to really make sure it's ready to go before I release it, though. But yeah, I think that's it for today. Thanks for joining me, everybody, and I'll see you guys around. Bye.